Hey everybody. So I want to just share with you guys a little bit more of an update because some rather significant things have happened in the past couple of days concerning my family. So it's important to me, and so I want to share it with you. Anyway, so you guys who've been watching my shows my videos, know that there's been a little bit of an issue between me and my brother. Um, but I think it was 2 days ago. He he apologized to me. He apologized to me, and he also said that he had a lot to make up for. So, that means a lot to me when people acknowledge, the wrong that they've done, and then they also say that, hey, I know I got stuff to make up for it. That's, those are two very powerful steps in a different and healthier direction. And he's also just been more acknowledging of how his attitude is affecting the whole household. And, he's being more open with the fact that, there's some things he needs to work on within himself, as we all have things to work on. So, yeah, I just want to share with you guys that, things are better between me and him. Before they got better, though, it reached a point like 3 days ago where him and my mom were fighting like the whole day. And it was so bad, the yelling and the screaming was so bad that I wanted to go upstairs and like tell him, stop this stuff. I used to have to do that between my mom and my dad. I used to literally go upstairs and stand between my mother and my father when they would start arguing with each other, because they just do it for hours, and it would be blood-curdling screams. It would be horrible. And my dad, he'd stop for a second, and then like 5 minutes later, he'd walk back to my mom's room and start to fight up again. And after a while, I just got to the point where I'd take my phone and be like, and I actually did do this, I'd call the cops and be like, there's domestic abuse going on in this household right now, so I need you guys to send over a squad car so you can tell my dad he needs to back off from my mom and let her get some space and sleep. And they'd come, and they'd pretty much just get an assess of the situation. But by them coming here and doing all that, I think psychologically it kind of calmed my dad down. So I encourage you guys to use that if you're in a situation where you're dealing with somebody who's being that abusive to you verbally. Call the cops. There is verbal abuse. That is a real thing. And just harassment in general. Like, that's what harassment is. When somebody won't leave you alone and you tell them to leave you alone, that's not cool. That's not respecting their rights as a human being. So I think it's a good idea to actually call the cops or people in that position to deal with those things to come and deal with them. But I didn't have to do that with my brother. I let that day kind of play out as it played out. I wasn't feeling the best, so I didn't really feel like I was shaky all over. I was still dealing with that shakiness I was telling you guys about. So I really didn't feel good about going up there and getting in my brother's, essentially having to get into his face and being like, dude, you gotta stop, you gotta back off, you can't keep doing this, because it's just, creating so much havoc in this household. And I know my brother too, and I know in the past, he's tried to egg me on and get me into fights and this and that, so that was going through my mind, and I'm not in the healthiest position, so my ego was like, oh, if we get into a fight and I get my ass kicked, and all these negative things kept on hitting me, and but I'm kind of glad that I didn't do anything, because as the next day panned out, he apologized, and unless somebody is, and I talked to my mom the next day too, and she was glad that I didn't interfere, because she was worried the same thing, that if I were to have interfered, that a fight would have broken out. So I think it's good all around, especially with the way things eventually turned out, that I didn't get involved. However, I'm not going to allow that to happen again, because it just takes such a toll on everybody in the household. Like, I get my mom's face, looks like she aged like 100 years, like everybody's in a crappy mood, and a lot of times it's over really small, it stems from deep things, but small things will trigger it, and then it'll just be this crazy war. against these things that could really be solved in a lot more diplomatic manners, you know, and in problem-solving ways. But because people are so emotionally hurt in so many different avenues, when they get into an engagement like this, they use it as an opportunity for their demons to fight and feed off each other, and they do. My mom even caught herself saying things that she regrets to my brother. So it goes both ways, man. You know, but again, I'm glad that I allowed that situation just play out as it did, and I kept my cool and I kept my distance. And you know, and then that day too, I was I feel better now about standing up, because I know that there's a very calm way that you can go about doing it, but you have to be careful because you can't get triggered. That's where you have to know how to keep that antagonist in that area of antagonism and know that that's the role they're playing right now, and not to get triggered by their efforts, because that's what they're going to do. Even if they don't know it, they're going to try to, you know, just being who they are is going to could bring about a triggering effect on you. And if you allow that triggering effect to take full effect on you, you will then kind of turn into the antagonist yourself, and you guys will have a war. It'll break out. So it's important, if you're going to play that mediatory type of role, that you're able to refrain from being triggered as well as you can. And you have a sense of calmness about you. Because that's going to be the best thing in a situation like that, is to help diffuse it, to calm it down, and then to figure out a good solution for both parties. So yeah, I just want to share with you guys that that is another current update, and it's good news. And also I encourage you guys to, if you're in similar situations, to maybe try some of these ways out and see if they work for you. So, all right, y'all take care. Bye.